Okay, so I was partially right about the Starbucks story. I made another video where I said the CEO was going to just do some outrageous thing and go overboard with his reaction, of course, which they all do. I mean, these are powerful men and women that run these companies that get like guilt tripped into like groveling, like some kind of like low life, incompetent employee or whatever. Anyway, I don't know what's going on today, but I know yesterday they announced that they were having sensitivity training day in May. Am I the only person on the face of this planet that I've never understood like diversity training and sensitivity training? Aren't they characteristics and aren't they traits of your personality? How do you train that? Isn't that what your parents' job is to do as you're growing up as a child? Aren't they supposed to guide you into behaving respectfully and correctly towards different people and people of different color and whatever? But it's like, I remember a couple years back, the Government Services Administration, GSA, whatever that stands for, they went to Las Vegas, right, for sensitivity training, or diversity training. And they spent like, a couple $1,000,000, like 8 or 10 of them, like partying in jacuzzis, dressing up as like American Indians, and one guy was dressed up as whatever, and they all got in different outfits, and they partied on the taxpayers' dime. And it was just ridiculous. I mean, how do you train someone to be sensitive to somebody else? I mean, you just want them to go through the motions, or are they going to give them some training pamphlets and say, you have to be nice to black people that come into here, and it doesn't matter if they use the bathroom or not. Or I'm sorry, it doesn't matter if they buy anything or not. Let them use the bathroom, or whatever. I mean, we all know that they have no problems, meaning Starbucks, with gay people, lesbians, transgenders, and all that. That's a given. I think what's probably going to happen is they're going to hold up a poster of a black guy, right, during this sensitivity training and be like, this is the new untouchable class. But just to refresh your memory, Muslims were already on there, and, LGBTQ, whatever, they were already on there, just to remind you now. But the new one is the black man, or woman, for that matter. So they're going to make them just go overboard with their kindness like they already do. That's probably what sensitivity training is. Just put on that fake smile that you learned when you took your training for Starbucks or McDonald's or whatever. And just pretend to be nice. That's all that matters. It's just funny. I just don't get the logic in it. How do you literally, I have friends that have certain opinions and attitudes that I don't agree with, but I don't sit there and say, I need to train you into being a different way. I mean, of course you bring it up and you argue about things, but you can't, I mean, can you necessarily train an adult or a young adult or whatever to be a certain way? I mean, wouldn't that make us all like robots? And again, I'm not saying that certain behaviors are acceptable and all that, so don't get me wrong, but people are who they are. They're just gonna do what they do, I mean, have you driven in traffic lately? 90% of people drive like complete jerks, and in the grocery store, and even in the church parking lot. People are just rude. They're selfish. It's all about themselves. I don't think you can train someone to be a certain way. I mean, you can bring it up, and they'll just go, oh yeah, I'm sorry I did that. And then they'll give you this fake apology, or they'll probably leave even more ticked off, than they were already, because you brought it up to them about them. You brought up a character flaw. It's just a big waste, you know. It's all for show. You know, Starbucks has to overreact. I was wrong. I thought they were going to come out with the white guilt latte, but maybe they are. They're probably going to still do that somehow. And, you know, he's going to meet with these two guys, and who knows what that's going to be all about. I mean, they were jerks and they got arrested. They should have just walked out and said, I'm never going to Starbucks ever again. Not that they bought any products there, but that's how things work in society. If somebody treats you a certain way, whether it's right or wrong, you tell all your friends and then no one eats there anymore. Like Panera Bread, when you go at dinner time and they don't have any bread. Yeah, that happens. And then you just tell everybody, you gripe about it, and everyone says, yeah, that happened to me too. And then you boycott them. You don't have to go have a protest and hold up signs and sit at their counter. You just say, I'm not going there anymore. They suck. Anyway, this whole story is so dumb. It's just, it's not about race, okay? And again, if it was, then you can't prove it. You can't read people's minds. You can't read the manager's mind. You know, for as far as I know, we haven't heard from the two guys. They're the only two that aren't talking, unless they are, and I haven't seen it online. But I don't try not to get on there too much anyway. It's just overwhelming. But anyway, so that's what they're going to do. They're going to like go through this whole fake dog and pony show and tell the employees what they probably already know or should know. And I don't know if that'll be the end of it or, you know, but with all the real tragedies in the world and the real racial things that are going on, they report on this nonsense, you know, like this is just an everyday thing. Again, whatever. So two guys were in a Starbucks and the cops showed up and kicked them out. You know, it's not a tragedy. It's not. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, I don't really have much more to say other than I knew the reaction was going to be crazy and over the top because these powerful people are just really wimps when it comes down to it. I mean, if it were me, I would have just said, oh yeah, I heard something went on at one of my stores. It's a shame. It's a shame it had to come to that. I'll look into it. And then just don't say anything else. Let it fade away. Let it fade away because the news is on to something else 2 seconds later about the Kardashians or whatever. I mean, it's just, these people never learn. They always feel like they have to react. And the press and everyone else demands a reaction. We demand that you give an answer to this. And we want to know how you feel about every little thing in life. Oh my gosh. Anyway, we'll see. But hopefully people will see the humor or whatever you want to call it in this whole story and future stories to come with this kind of nonsense. Take care.